So you mentioned floor plans, and maybe that's the next layer. I'll let you decide. But the first layer, just to restate, is, using these sacred principles, we'll call them, in the layout, design, thinking through the cosmic, kind of lining things up with the cosmos, in terms of placement of the building. And now we're, starting to design the floor plans, and you're going to sacred spaces to get you more connected with feeling good and, divinity, I think is the word used, but connecting with the ethereal powers to create those floor plans. Tell us about how you thought about and how you collaborated with your architect in, now we've got where the building is. What is the building going to look like? What are the components? Where, how much, how big are the rooms? We've got ratios, but how big is the restaurant? We're going to have this Abbey that I can't wait to talk about. We're going to have all these other components, all these amenities. How did you start thinking through that layer?
Well, that layer was done by working with another fellow who was very good on the CAD. And as we began to assemble the different spaces, drew mainly upon a hotel that I had built previous to Allegretto, which had this element of, there was no dead end space. You could circulate in the building, and there was a little courtyard. And somehow I just felt that particular design, which I had done before, really somehow works in a certain way. So I built off of that, but grew it a little bit or a lot of it. But, and each time we would do certain spaces, I would just test the field of energy on paper to see if it was resonating, if it had chi, if the energy was flowing. And so if it did, it would just keep going. If it needed to be corrected, correct it. And it's amazing how the ability to look at a plan and it's feeding back information such that, as you tweak the lines, it's going to enhance or detract from a particular vibrational quality that we're looking for. We're just looking for a quality that just brings life force. That's the ultimate goal. And then I believe a particular life force with music is just, this makes the sense of joy.
I'm curious what you do in your space when you are, building your home or your office or your bedroom. What are the top couple of things that you are doing or putting in those spaces? Because part of the reason for the podcast, in addition to, sharing these ideas and getting people to think critically about how their space is making them feel, is also to give folks actionable things that they can do in their space to help them feel better. So I'm curious what those couple of things are for you. And I'm sure you have a much longer list than most of us, but tell us a couple of things that are really important to you in your spaces.
I think finding that spot on the earth, if you're building a home that is it's just like maybe it's a crossing of lines. Maybe it's just sort of a point of harmony, and making sure that point of if you can find that place of harmony, it will usually tell you where it is. And putting it in a strategic part of the home so that it's emanating. I think that's important, building materials and things like, there's an exploration with using, I use basalt rebar as much as I can. Codes don't permit it here in California, as many places might permit it. But using materials that, don't block the flow of chi from the earth coming upwards. Each and every opening of the windows, because if you're going to have an opening and it's at the right width and height, you're going to have a certain beneficial frequency that's going to be coming through the glass. Change it a little bit, it'll be different. There's folks that, I don't do this, but there's folks that work with EMS and how to block this and that and all. That's not my field of expertise. How you run wires down your bed wall. If you have a bed wall, better to not have going across, but dropping down and going out, but not going back behind you. Mainly the ratios of the space, it's amazing how just a little degree of, a half inch or something, sometimes less than that, can make a difference in a room. And I would only suggest that as you are working on that, just tune to your body and find that place where your body relaxes.
There's a whole nother energy force that, we can't see, but it's there. Again, it's exactly what you said in the very beginning. There's so much that wants to come through that we just have to listen for. So, what comes up for me, and we've talked a little bit about this in the past, is, let's say I'm building traditional hotels and I listen to this podcast and I say, well, I'm shifting from traditional hospitality to Temple of Joy hospitality. How does one make that shift? Because I think about it a lot as a, real estate developer and traditional multifamily. I think about, okay, we've always done it this way and we know that this works, but we want to pivot. How do we change directions? What are some of the steps that a traditional hospitality developer could take to start thinking about a Temple of Joy approach?
Well, very good question. I think in the, temples of joy have been built for millenniums. Okay. The masters of the ancients knew how to do this, from Egypt to Chartres Cathedral to Babylon and, to, in Turkey, Malta. It was just been going on and on and on. So they knew how to strategically build their temples. And you fast forward to today and it doesn't happen today like it used to happen, at least not to the degree that it's used to happen. So what do we do today with the land, with the building and all? How does one rise to that next place to bring harmony to space? That is the $1 million question for that. And I guess I would, if I was to suggest anything, is to stop what you're doing and go tune inward and, build that inner temple and find this space such that you let go of enough of the way we typically do things, reinvent that or rehear that which our soul's calling for, and come back and do it from a place that just happens naturally. Because I think us as people, we all have the ability. It's, yes, there's different talents for different people, but we really all have it within. Peter, I mean, obviously, you've gone on your path and you've sort of, said, why not take this a little bit wider into, communities and apartments, communities, and you've tapped into that place where, our inner souls are calling for a higher degree of harmony. And, you're seeking out to figure out those different things that can be done. And that's a real wonderful place to spring from.